What up, everybody? You guys are tuned in to another episode of Business is Blooming. I got a special guest on the show for you today, man. My homie Miles from Weed Tastes Good. I tell you this, man, Miles. I told you long ago, man. I seen your logo maybe about 4 years ago, man. Didn't know you from Adam, bro, but I was behind the movement, man. I say we should taste good, bro. We glad to have you, man.
Give thanks, man. Me too. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, most deaf, man. All right, Miles. So I know you, man, and the world knows you too. But for the listeners that don't know you, man, tell the guys where you from.
So I'm originally from Western North Carolina, Asheville. It's a little kind of hippie town, art town. And I did the whole thing out there on the East Coast, and then in 2008 moved out here to Colorado.
Nice.
2016 bought my farm out here in Western Colorado, buying the farm, moved out here, and been doing the whole outdoor, live in soil, all natural under the sun kind of vibes out here in the country since then.
Man, that's dope, man. My wife and I, we have aspirations for one day owning our own farm too, man. So I think that's pretty dope owning the farm, bro.
It's just a lot of work. It's paying bills, you know. It's just paying bills.
No doubt. It's kind of like I said on the last show, man. At the end of the day, we are farmers, bro. We are farmers.
Yeah, no, it's ag. It's an ag thing. It comes down to the ag and to growing. It's genetics tailored to your environment and all this. Like same thing that we do, and with everything else, vegetables, flowers, everything.
No doubt. So, man, I like to start my show off with you telling us a funny weed story, man. And why I bring this up, man, is I think that everybody that smokes cannabis, bro, they probably all have a dope, funny weed story, man. So I want you to share it with the population.
Geez, I should have one on deck. I know you told me this, but all right. I mean, like it's always kind of a situation. Well, we'll go back to roots, like where it's not cool, that you grow. You got to be really careful about where you're growing and who knows and everything, So
no doubt, man. Expound on that, man, because a lot of people, bro, these days, man, like everybody grows now, right? But it was a time where it was like hush, hush, man. Like I like to go into that too, but after your story though,
bro, I was just thinking on a few different times of just like where the house is like sacred. You got an agreement with your partners, like nobody goes in the house but us. Because it's like there's a grow in there, and like nobody, like we don't ever bring nobody home. Everything, like we didn't even like kick it in the town we were in. It was always like go the next town over if you're gonna like go to the club or like go drinking or anything. Like don't do nothing in our town.
wow.
And yeah, and I remember there was a time when somebody comes through the house, like somehow they like dropped me off and knew that where I lived, and they just thought it was cool. And these cats like swing through, and I'm just like, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Didn't call nothing. So I like step outside, shut the door behind me, and we're like hanging out on the porch. They're all waiting for me to like invite them in. And I'm like, nah, dude, it's like I didn't say nothing. I just hung out there like until they left. But it was one of those things of just like this is not okay. Like coming through the house, and that's not the fun, but that's just the reality of like what we live through to like carry the vibe with the plant. Is that like if something goes wrong, loose lips sink ships, and everything can go like everything can change from like beautiful, blissful ganja growing life like to the end, like the end. Oh, game over.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Like I said, I remember when I first started growing, man, and reading the marijuana grow Bible. That was one of the things that one of the first key rules is loose links sink ships. Is exactly what the quote was in the book, man. And I remember there was a time, bro, where we couldn't even bring up cannabis inside of the stores. No, you talk about cannabis, you got to go. You had to talk about tomatoes.
Bullshit. Yeah, man. That whole lifestyle, it kind of like. In a weird way, it kind of like made liars out of otherwise honest people. Like we can't even like get eye level with people who are already like very much on the same level as because like this fear and this like it just closed us off from each other. So when I moved out to Colorado, one of the best feelings was just like being able to be open with people and talking about it and having that fellowship. Like what now we take for granted because like we can get on the podcast and like you're on the East Coast, I'm out here. But we both got this freedom. so we can talk about it. And that's the best feeling is being able to connect with people, build a community around our experience with this plant. And
No doubt.
that's the I'll tell you, the best thing about legalization is just that. It's all this bullshit about plant counts and licensing and all these rules and all that ain't legalization. Legalization is
Man.
you and me getting together and talking about this thing without having to worry about what if he says something to someone and they say something. What if the what if them loose lips start sinking my ships? Like but we don't. We can at least talk. We can at least have this connection and this fellowship around it now, and that give
No,
thanks.
talk that shit, man. Talk that shit. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man.
Nah, man, I totally agree with you, brother. I couldn't have said it better myself, man. Um, Look, before we go any further, brother, I want to cheers you, man, and let you guys know what I'm smoking on today. So today I'm smoking on Rasta Jeff's Strawberry Starburst. So shout out to Irie Genetics, man.
Yes, respect, Rasta Jeff. Yes.
Yeah, man. I look up to Rasta Jeff, man. My style, my podcast, a lot of the way I grow, man, all came from just listening to countless hours of fucking Grow From Your Heart podcast. If you guys haven't seen that on YouTube, man, go check that out, the Grow From Your Heart podcast, man. We
Yeah,
don't do no
respect.
hating over here, brother. We don't do
No,
no hate.
respect, man. He's been doing the thing for a long time. Like he's got a grip of episodes up. That man, yeah, I got mad respect for Jeff. It's been a
Most,
while since I've seen him, like probably since before COVID and shit. But yeah, respect out to Rasta Jeff, Irie Genetics.
no doubt. So we're gonna hop into the story, man. I want to know. Won't you tell the listeners, man? Where did you get the aspiration? Where did the idea? Where did the mantra come up of weed should taste good, bro? Like, if you can't get behind that movement, you a hater, bro.
I
Yeah.
love this story. This is a great story because, like, so we're out here working, like trim crew. It's this time of year, maybe like 2016, and I'm broke, and I need some money, so I'm like working trim crews, and it's like a camp. You like go off and live there, and like stay camping at the farm for like until the trim's done, and then you get paid, right? So I brought a bunch of weed. I brought a bunch of jars of my weed, my indoor that I had just finished, but the trim they had a bunch of weed there. But so we're trimming a greenhouse, a big ass hoop, and it's up in the mountains, and it's like winter. It's like getting cold, so they're running heaters inside the greenhouse at night. They're running these fucking diesel powered heaters that put out diesel exhaust fumes like when they cook, when they're going. And the
Mm-hmm.
exhaust fumes are the greenhouses don't got no vents open at night. They're completely sealed up to keep that heat in. That diesel exhaust fumes was condensing on the inside of the plastic, and then in the
It
morning
just
they was dripping back down, and you could smell it when in the morning. It was like, oh shit, open the greenhouse up. It's like fumes. You can't even breathe in here. And all the weed was like gassed up,
ruined.
like in a bad way, like not the good gas. You know what I'm saying? Like all the weed was
Right.
like, in my opinion, it was ruined. It
Yeah,
was like,
most definitely.
and I was like heartbroken because it was like I could see this man's hard work gone into this season. All these people he was paying to trim, and then he's like telling us like, just go in there and get you some weed if you want to smoke it from like the dry stuff. And that's what everybody's rolling up and smoking. They're all like, like they're trying to enjoy it, but it ain't enjoyable at all. And and I got my jar, but I'm like, I only got enough for like me and my little crew. That's like, I didn't bring enough weed for everybody all week until we're done. So like, so we take. I kind of not proud of this, and it's kind of a bitch move. But, we took a little hike to like smoke ganja to like get away from the crew and like kind of conserve the herb, which I'm proud of. I love to share and all this, but so anyhow, we hike up in the mountains, like into the wilderness around this farm, and get up on these rocks in like a sunny spot in the trees. It's like beautiful, mystic place out here in the wilderness, and we're rolling up and having this puff and just grateful and everything. And I leaned back, and there's a pair of like white sunglasses, and like the swag, like promotional material kind of shit, right? And
Yeah.
I look at it and I flip it to the side, and on the side where the little logo goes, it said, "Food should taste good," and that's like a
Okay.
brand bougie ass chips, like $7 a bag, potato chips and stuff like it's like Whole Foods petty, but it's high quality for a high price.
Right.
good ingredients, good flavor, high. You're not just buying a bag of Lay's. And I'm thinking, but right then I'm sitting there like smoking my ganja, like on the rock with the crew, thinking, motherfucker, weed should taste good. And I'm not
No.
fine, but I go home after this trim crew is done, and I'm like, get on the Microsoft Paint and just straight like look at the sunglasses I just got like in the woods, and I was like, oh, I can cop this style, like I can mock this right here, and I just
Fire.
and I was already making seeds at that time, but they were just unbranded. I was just selling seeds to growers I knew. So once I had that vision in that moment, it was like, oh shit, weed should taste good. It's even more important. Like people don't even understand that like if the weed don't taste good, something was wrong. Something it wasn't grown right, or the genetics ain't right, or like
No doubt.
good
No
weed.
doubt.
You can have bad weed that gets you plenty high, but you don't like if the weed doesn't taste right. There's something of quality lacking, whether it's old,
No, no doubt.
cured right, or grown right, or something. But like the best weed out there gets you nice and irie too, but it has that flavor. It has a mouth feel. Coats your mouth with like you can kind of feel the oils burn like
Yeah.
you can gives you all
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's a special
Yeah,
thing.
no doubt.
And bad weed gives you like this like not bad, but subpar weed gives you like this chalky, harsh kind of back of the throat, like not as enjoyable type of thing.
Like
And
burnt carbon type taste. You just like
cardboard.
yeah, man. No doubt, no doubt, man. And from the get go, man, I've always said, man, like when I produce strains, or at least I try to, man, I want to feel like when I'm smoking that, no matter if I'm sitting on the couch, sitting in my backyard, I want to feel like I'm on an island, and it's irie, man, when I'm smoking my weed, bro. And
Yeah,
when
man.
weed comes
It's
in
a pure
flavors,
feeling.
that's no doubt, man. I remember back in the day, man, when I first started smoking good weed, man, because for a long time it was Mexican brick weed in Houston, Texas, brother. So,
Yeah. No,
anybody
same
tell you
way.
differently,
That's it.
maybe they had the good connect, but I didn't. And I remember there's a strand called Juicy Fruit, and what was it in bubble gum. Was the first time I had put on weed with flavor, and it was euphoric, man, because not only did it taste good, but it got me high as shit too, like so. That's what got me into growing, man. I was like, I want to learn how to produce and grow this. And at the time, there no one was talking about LSO, or no one was talking about uh, any other type of grows. It was just hydroponics, man. That was the top tier. If you were growing hydroponics, you had that fire, right? Not necessarily true, but that's what it was. That was the notion at that point, that hydroponics brought you that quality of weed. And so that's how I got into growing weed, man. I wanted to figure out how could I continuously smoke good tasting weed like that.
Yeah, man. That's what it is. I'm in the same boat. I was growing cocoa and rock wool with like Lucas Formula or Canna or House and Garden, any of those expensive ass brands or cheap brands, whatever it was. But then when I got into living soil, when I got into the natural thing, like the quality is just unreal. Like nobody could deny the quality was just better.
And I feel like you alley hooping me, man, because that was my next question coming right at you, man. So my next question is, what type of method do you use for cultivating cannabis?
So I'm big on all natural nowadays. Like, I mean, I help people. I do some consulting on like Synganic and people who want to get more natural, but they're growing in like cocoa with salts. But for me, it's all about all natural. I work with a company called Build a Soil that makes soil and makes products. They sell my products, and so I use their soil. It's a really really good couple soil mixes they sell, and I like the 3.0, the Build a Soil 3.0. It's really strong. It's great for home growers and great for like hobbyists. So, and
Okay.
that soil it's like a soil, and you a
What
couple few
soil?
little additives. What's that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you say it was a what kind of soil?
Like a super soil, like TGA, like
Super
subcool base.
soil.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
really
Super
strong.
soil.
People, you could water only if you wanted, but it's better with a little few additives.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to try. I've been seeing Build a Soil, Build a Soil. Everybody's repping Build a Soil in the community, and I've just wanted to know: is it the secret sauce, man? Is it something that I should be growing in my garden?
Well, I'll tell you, it's the sauce for sure. But we don't keep no secrets. It's all about education and empowerment, and like you could buy the soil, build the soil, right? Or you can
Mm-hmm.
go on their website and it'll tell you the recipe. So you could just make it if you go out, if you got your measuring cups and you got your tubs and you can do it all yourself, you don't get too high and you can follow the recipe right, then like you can buy the ingredients all from Build a Soil, or you can go out and get them wherever, but you can make Build a Soil 3.0 using our recipe. Same way with my product, the fermented plant extracts. God, I should have a bottle of them up here. But with the ferments, I teach how to make how to do all this stuff so that it ain't a secret sauce. It's an open source
Right.
sauce where we're trying to teach people how to do it themselves, how to lower their costs, how to make the highest quality shit for the lowest cost over and over and over and over for as long as possible.
No doubt, man. That's so it's very regenerative, is what you're saying. Like it pays for itself after a while. Did you hear me? Can you hear me?
Cutting out, bro.
Yeah, I see you too, bro. Am I back?
You there? Cut out
Yeah,
for a
I'm still
second.
here.
Cut
I'm
out
still
there.
here. Am I back?
Yeah. You good now? It's just cut
Uh,
out. It's all good.
okay. I apologize, man. We're little kinks. I guess I'm gonna have to really work with since we're recording actually over the internet. So I think
Like
sometimes we have
screening
a
and
little issue.
recording.
Right, right. But you know what it says though? It says it always records in the highest quality though. So I wonder, even if we think it's paused, I think it's still recording. So we still gonna keep going.
Yeah, we're good.
Um, no doubt. So tell me this, man. When you are growing LSO, and for those who don't know LSO, could you explain what LSO is and what does
Sure.
LSO stand for? The acronym.
LSO's Living Soil Organics. So the word organic has basically been like co-opted by politics. Like it don't mean nothing anymore other than you jump through some government hoops to get this certification, but those government hoops don't say anything about like replenishing the soil or keeping life in the soil or like your water quality when it leaves your farm. Organics is really just about what chemicals you do and don't use. So living soil describes using the processes in the soil by the biology in the soil. Microbes, we call them. They're bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, microarthropods, insects, arthropods, worms, all kinds of life in the soil. It's a complex and a diverse ecosystem in the soil that acts in symbiosis with plant roots to provide nutrition, both for each other, both for all the organisms in that living soil food web, but also provide food for the plants. And what's really important to me is that this is how all plants evolved over millions of years to exist and to get their nutrition. It's not to say that chemical fertilizers won't work or shouldn't work. It's just that this is the most natural way that plants know how to get nutrition is through the plants actually feed and communicate with the microbes in the soil
Yep.
using root exudates, so that they like the roots excrete things that could provide food and attractants for microbes, and they like
Yep.
anytime I always say anytime there's an exchange of information, there's also an exchange of energy. And anytime there's an exchange of energy,
Okay.
there's also an exchange of information. So when you feed something, you inform them. And when the microbes feed the
Learning.
roots and the roots feed the microbes, they're informing each other. They're telling them, this is what I need next time. Thanks for what you brought. Here, go out and get me
Yep.
this. Go out and get me that.
Yep.
And that's how the plant gets what it needs. And
I think that is crazy, amazing what goes on. And if I believe it's called the rhinosphere, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong,
rhizo,
but
rhizo.
rhizosphere, the
Yep.
rhizosphere, where, like you said, the bacteria, they find food that the plant can't readily take up, eat it, consume it, excrete it, and then the plant says, "Hey, I have something for you too. Here's the sugars that you're looking for," and it, oh man, that is crazy wild.
Basically,
I
like
was,
science fiction shit going on in the soil that we're just now living in the time when we can know this stuff. We can see it
I
with
was watching a documentary on YouTube about mycorrhiza, one of the oldest living organisms, right? Well, these mycorrhiza again attach to the roots, right? Which end up connecting to another tree roots, right? And so essentially it creates a phone line, would you, if you will, from tree to tree through these bacteria, and the trees communicate with each other. Hey, there's fire over here, or hey, we're missing nitrogen. If you guys got a little extra over there 3 miles down the road, could you send some this way? And we'll send potassium. Oh my God, it is crazy, bro. And how there was a I forgot how the test happened, man. I'm gonna get it right, but there was a test where they radiated this tree, right, with nuclear radiation, but had a tree that was connected through the roots on the other side. And I forgot exactly what happened. And I gotta go back and watch. I'm sorry, guys, I don't
Oh, they
remember, but it
know.
was
They,
just
they know the plant. One plant can, just like you said, if there's a fire, another plant like a mile or two away on the other side of the valley or something will put up its defense chemicals. So it's like it's acting like it already felt the fire, but there's no way it did. Same way with the
no
radiation.
doubt.
You irradiate one plant and it puts something into its roots that says, "Oh shit, I just got irradiated." And the microbes, the endomycorrhiza or the bacteria or something, they translocate that information through an exchange of energy. They translocate that information to another plant of the same species, and they're like, "Oh, they're getting irradiated over there," and they put out their stress response signals and start beefing up like as if they're about to get irradiated or
No,
fired. Yeah, it's
adding
so cool.
adding insect frass to the soil. What that does is it mimics a tree being fed on or a plant being fed on, being attacked. And again, like you said, it sends off signals to the plant. Hey, put your defenses up higher. You know what I mean? Which see, people don't understand that how deep we actually go into these farming situations, bro. Like people just think that we put a plant in the pot and water it. No, man. If again, I said it on the last episode. I said it again. The more you know, the more you can grow. You know what I mean? That's spiritually, mentally, and fucking cannabinoidally. You know what I mean? Like, no
Yeah,
doubt,
well,
man.
and
It's
that's
dope.
that's another cool thing about living soil is that because I grew chemicals forever, and I'll tell you, really, all I learned about that was about growing from that was how to read those feeding charts. Oh, you feed 2 mg's of this and up to this week, and then you feed 4 mg's of this. Just reading those feeding charts and kind of connecting, the nitrogen in the beginning and the phosphorus, potassium towards the end. Very base level. You don't learn a whole lot when you grow hydro and when you grow with chems. You don't have as much of a interactive connection with the plant and what's going on. When you learn soil, when you start growing soil, there's a mentality of like education and empowerment where you want to learn about how's this work. It's a leap of faith. You put the plants in the healthy soil and you put water on it and you kind of sit back and wait and they do their thing and you sprinkle the amendments on top and give them some life. And it's crazy how much learning goes on around living soil. And
Yeah,
now
no doubt.
systemic acquired responses, the SAR, which is jasmonic and salicylic response, which is what you were talking about, the when they get stressed and they start feeling like fight or flight, or they start putting up those defenses, they know there's something coming, and that signaling that like with the insect frass, that signaling makes plants so strong. It makes them like
Right.
so vigorous because it's like that kind of little tiny stress that makes them think they're going to get hurt but don't. And it looks like that low stress training, bending plants down. A lot of that stuff is you can learn it in either system, but when you start doing living soil, you really start learning about that rhizosphere you were talking about. You start
Mm.
about how these microbes interact. So cool.
No, no, most definitely, man. So, for someone that wanted to dive into LSO, and again, LSO is Living Soul Organics, right? What type of books could you read? I'll tell you a book that I read, and I'm pretty sure you've probably read it front to back. But Teeming with Microbes, you
Oh,
know,
100%. One of the best.
Hard read, but very worth it. And as you grow and learn, you start understanding what they're talking about in the book, and it starts to make more sense to you. So I
Yeah.
definitely would recommend that. But anything else?
I would I would say that's a really good like implemental one that to like learn like that'll help you like work in it. A book that's kind of more about like the psychology of it or the mentality of it is it's called One Straw Revolution.
One
And
Straw Revolution.
one straw, like a piece of straw. One
Mm-hmm.
Straw Revolution, and it's written by I can't remember if he's Japanese or he's written by an Asian dude, and it's really cool just about kind of like how this system is about connecting with nature and about understanding how the natural order is that like you were saying, one tree or microbes say like if you need some nitrogen, if you got it, like send it. Like this symbiosis, this cooperation of like that we as humans really need to learn and benefit from the lesson of nature of being like, yo, if your brother, if your sister needs something, like show love and be there for each other, you know. And we're
You know, I hear people
a little bit.
mention it all the time, and they don't even really know it. It's just a thing that people say. But when people say I'm matching people's energy or we connected with energy, that's exactly what we're talking about. How plants interact. You know, plants can't get up and physically move. They can't physically talk. So all they have is energy to pass back and forth. And you know what I mean? So I think you said a mouthful right there. I think humans should start connecting back to nature and understanding how the natural order of things are supposed to go. So shout
Yeah,
out
man.
to you for even to realizing that, man. It's dope.
You know, the birds, the trees all happy in the forest. It's very rare you see a sick, like bad plant out in the forest. You know, the birds in the fields, they're all assured of their meals. They got what they need. We're gonna be all right if we can like mimic that system of like how the microbes support each other, how the plants and the microbes work together to communicate across distance. We got a lot to learn. You know, we're at a very advanced state and give thanks to where we're at and what got us here. But what got us here ain't going to keep take. It's not going to keep. We got to build something new to move forward.
No facts. We got to evolve. You
Yeah,
know, people think that we're done evolving. We're not. We just got to make sure that we keep evolving to the right. You know, because you can regress. But I digress. So,
yeah, man.
yo, I was on your website, bro, and I seen something that caught my eye, bro. Because again, it sounds terpy. So the fermented fruit juice. Because I don't think a lot of people know that you actually do work as well. You actually breed. You actually
Oh,
cultivate and
hello world.
make seeds. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
yeah, hella work, hella work. I seen it. I seen it. You
Yeah.
know, tell me about the fermented fruit juice, bro.
So, fermented fruit juice is part of what we call Korean natural farming, and the cool thing about fermented fruit juice is if you make it right, if you make it with the right kind of care, you can make it for people to eat. It's just sugar and fruit. That's all it's made of. It's a syrup. So you take
Wow.
fruit, you chop them up, and you weigh them. Say you got a pound of fruit. Take a chop them up coarse. Doesn't gotta be tiny, but and then you take a pound of sugar and you just stir that stuff together. Put it in a jar. Like once it's all the fruit's all coated in granules of sugar, you put that in a jar, and that just sits for 10 days or so. And the syrup will gather at the bottom. That syrup you separate off. That's your fermented fruit juice, and that's when you use like molasses to feed your microbes. This is a
Mm-hmm.
special type of plant infused, fruit infused sugar to feed your microbes in your soil with.
Because
This,
again, when you're doing living soil, you're not essentially or necessarily, shall I say, feeding the plant. You're feeding the soil, which in turn feeds the plant.
you're
So
contributing. Yeah,
I want to make sure I stress that. You know, it's going to sound for new people, new growers, it's going to sound real weird that you're not putting vital nutrients inside of your soil. You're actually feeding readily. You're feeding the soil, the bacteria that's in the soil that creates the food
that
for the plant.
that soil food web where it's a complex and diverse group of all kinds of different microbes. Where like one microbe might have to eat like. So what I always say is, if you got amendments in your soil, like you got kelp meal in your soil. The plant's roots don't just grow down and grab on the kelp meal and suck the nutrients out. The
Correct.
microbes eat it, but it might take like 4 or 5 microbes eating it before it gets to that one microbe that actually connects to the plant's roots and gives it to the plants where we need it. So you got to
Correct.
ensure that all these different diverse microbes are intact, and this whole loop happens. So so yeah, we're always adding microbes. What we're doing is contributing to this soil ecosystem. We're either adding new microbes that do specific tasks along this way, or we're adding food supplies for those
Or
microbes. They have so
correct.
the existing microbes have plenty of nutrition to maintain them, and
Correct.
very little of what we do is directly feeding the plant. So those fermented fruit juices we feed at very low levels, and we feed it with a mix of other things. The fermented fruit juice you feed it like 4 to 8 ml per gallon, so tiny little bit. But I'll tell you, if you make that fermented fruit juice in a kitchen with a clean knife and good fruit and a good, nice, clean jar, and you mix it with like some sparkly water or something, it makes it really. It's like a nice syrup, and you can use it to sweeten things. And it's a and
Nice.
anytime you'd use sugar instead of just using straight sugar, you could use a plant infused to feed our stomach, our probiotic environment, and our stomachs, which mimics the roots of the plant.
Mm,
So it's
no
a
doubt. So
very vibe.
I had a friend, Joaquin, that lived in California or lives in California, and he actually went to go study at a class with Dr. Cho, and he used to teach me
In February,
the. I'm sorry.
earlier this year in February.
No, this was years ago when he
Oh,
went.
way back.
So maybe like maybe like 6 years ago.
Got you.
But he
Cool.
was teaching me, and so when I lived in Spain in my backyard, I had an orange tree, I had a pear tree, a pomegranate tree, a fig tree. Well, I used to take the figs and ferment them with the 1-to-1 ratio of the brown sugar and the figs that just fell off the tree. And I used to find worms in the soil. I used to dig up dig around the fruit trees and put them inside of my pots. And I gave it my try of trying to grow naturally. And then I used to do my fermented teas. I would take I would get a bag of back guano and some worm castings and put it in a stocking, put it in a bucket, and I would bubble it for 24 hours. Man, it would make this like with a little bit of molasses, and it make this frothy looking stuff. Oh, you say you can drink that? I dare not drink that,
No,
bro.
not
Them,
that.
like,
Don't drink that. Don't drink that.
uh,
Just one. Just
hey,
one to one.
say it again, bro, because we actually record live and it's going on. So do not drink that, is what he said. Do
Don't
not
drink your
drink that.
compost tea. But if you make the just the sugar and the fruit when it separates and makes
Yeah,
a juice, that syrup, ooh, that's sweet and good. But
yeah,
once
most
it goes
stuff.
into the back guano, once you get into the back guano, there's no culinary input there. No redeeming value. That's plant food only at that point.
But yeah, and I would take that and I would water it into the medium in which I was growing the cannabis in, and it grew, man. It was the one thing that I battled with when I grew organically in the house was the fruit flies and the pests that came with the soil, because I
Yeah,
wanted to be as natural as possible, so I would go outside and dig up soil. I wanted to use the environment that I was in, right?
yeah,
But at that point in time, I didn't know or have the know-how on how to control pests in the garden when you're growing organically. Could you help the audience with
yeah.
something or the how-to of IPM with organics?
Yeah, man. That's why building soil is so good. That we help you out with all the pest issues. Like you get the bag of soil, it's perfectly clean. You got nothing bad in it. We got worm castings. Yeah, it's I had bugs like I before I even grew organic back when I was doing you know like regular synthetic growing whatever.
No, no, no stuff.
I had I got everything in the book: aphids, russets, like I'd been doing it in all kinds of warehouses and everything. I'd seen it all. So by the time organic came along, or by the time I got really deep and where that was all I was doing, everything was pretty much spider mites. Like you know these those clones look like they have russets. Don't even take them. That kind of thing. You just learn I'd fortunately learned a lot about ganja growing and everything before I really got deep into organics to grow ganja. But
Hmm.
my parents are old hippies. I grew up on like veggie farm vibes with them. They're
Yeah,
vegetarian.
nice.
We grew vegetables all my whole life. So growing in soil and growing naturally really was like my roots. And ganja, in some ways, ganja took me away from that and brought me back because I did a lot with
Right.
regular growing.
That's pretty dope.
Just
No, that's pretty dope.
give thanks for ganja.
So, I want to talk about your genetics, bro. I think you have a cross name fermented fruit juice, don't you?
Yeah, it was just I was like, that's a perfect name. It's a Korean natural farming kind of inside joke. So yeah, let me get a pack. I got some packs right here. I'll have to send you some so you can give some away and ship.
Man, how about you? How about we do give it like the end of the show?
Hell yeah, we can give one away. I'm slow to ship. I'm bad about ship. I'll just be honest.
Cool.
I'll get them out. Yeah. So this is my packaging. Little green Mylars. Weed should taste good. Pretty straightforward. This is a
Dope.
pack of pre-98 Bubba Kush back cross. So just trying to preserve some of the legends.
Nice.
This is a cherries and cheese, kind of fruity and funky Kush thing. Cherry pie Kush and Afghan.
Sound like that's right up my alley.
Yeah, I love ganja. I love the flavors. This is a cat piss type high country ox piss.
I seen that one online too, man. That one sound fire, bro. Old school cat piss, like the funk. It brings the
The
funk.
NorCal cut. Yeah, it was really sour, bitter. Like I called it kind of an ammonia basil smell. It was nasty.
Yeah.
Really like nothing else like it. So just trying to preserve that, but I've only crossed it with sour, chemi, funky, pissy things. That
Nice.
breeding is like there's a lot of power in the hybrids, like where you take a sativa and indica.
Hmm.
But when I grow things, I look for correlating traits that match up.
Most def. Most
So
def.
when you see some that's short, squatty, and sour, and you see another thing that's short, squatty, and sour, you grew out those females. You can say, oh, these both are short, squatty, and sour. They're going to make more short, squatty, sour females and short, squatty, sour offspring.
Yeah, most def.
So,
Still.
traits just match up. But there's a
You ever
lot of
found
power
it?
in the hybrids too. I do a lot of crazy hybrids using land races and heirlooms from around the world, and the hybrids that come out of those are super potent. So, like they call it hybrid vigor. When you have really unrelated things that you cross together, you get this extra
I
strength.
got a pack I want to get to you. Now that I know your style, so when I was in Spain, I started off a project with my homie Pablo. Shout out to my homie Pablo from Goosebumps Genetics. Right, I took Balak that I got from Khalifa Genetics, and then I took my homies. He had a '90s Mazar. I found a male, and I made those two. You know, and they created a baby. So I grew that baby out. It was fire, but it was missing something. I sent them to my homie out in Arizona, and he hit it with a bodega bubblegum. And that's where I came up with the bubblegum mosque. Tribute to the two Afghani strands and, true to the bubblegum. And when I tell you, bro, it has this no shit bubblegum flavor that not reminiscent of old school bubblegum. I wouldn't give myself that much props, right? But very bubblegum. And what I like about it is I finally got feedback from one of my strands. So the homie hit me. He was like, bro, this strand here, it helps me with my anxiety. It helps me with my appetite, and I'm able to smoke it and have a great time. It doesn't make me feel all down. I love that, bro. When we do this, bro, we intend to do it for medicinal values too. So some of us, I like flavors too, but my medicinal feeling is like when I smoke a great flavor and it makes my body and my mind feel good. That's medicinal to me, right? Well, that bubblegum moss does that for me, bro. And to get someone else to say it without even me asking was like, yo. So I gotta shoot those
Cool.
your way, bro. No doubt.
I'd love to try them out. Yeah, man. Yeah, and those
Yeah, no
terpenes,
doubt.
like you're saying, the medicinal value, the terpenes have that that medicinal value in them, and each different plant with different traits and different smells and flavors has a unique batch of medicinal effects that are created by that special combination. And that's why, again, terpy weed should taste good is generally going to be more medicinal too because it has more of those terpenes.
No
That's just
stuff.
that's just
Most
natural.
deaf. Most deaf, man. What you know what? And is that because we don't have enough type of testings where we can't find those mapped out, those terpenes mapped out for the medicinal values that they hold in
No, they
writing?
you can tell what terps have what medicinal value. That's that information, but it's like the magical combination of what the plant like creates based on its environment and its inputs and its
Mm-hmm.
life and its genetics. That's that special combination. If it was grown well and it had a good environment and it makes the right kind of the right terps, like that magical combo that can be recreated if you grow the same genetics in a healthy environment, you'll have a
Right.
similar medicinal effect. But yeah, if you grow it like poorly and it's like all unhealthy and you can't get the flavor off the buds, you harvest it early or something like
Right.
then you're not going to have the same medicinal effects either. Those terps are what
So
like
so
augment.
what do you think was it when we were smoking like seeded Mexican brickweed that made us continue to buy it and then being awakened, quote unquote, to good weed?
Yeah, the kindness happened. The kindening, the kindness, like because we always called it kind bud for me back then. It was like kind bud was like the
KB.
good. If it wasn't brick, it was like something kind, and that was either like it was usually like somebody's homegrown, and then the beasters came around, and they were like imitation dank, imitation kind
So
cartel.
I think somebody, I don't remember who it was, man, but somebody explained to me finally what Beasters was. I never knew what that was, but apparently Beasters is like weed from Canada.
It started out from Canada, yeah, but it was shit. We would just get on a truck, like a fucking semi would roll through, and it would literally be like 70 or 100, get whatever you need off the truck now. And
Where the fuck
it
is this at, bro? What the fuck?
South Carolina, bro. It was bad.
Man,
Bricks, they were like, it was like the kind of thing as the brick weed eventually, but it was just really hard, dense, like super trikey. But it like, it was just work. It was just commercial bullshit. But
well, bro, Neptune, guys. I'm gonna rate up some King Neptune with my guy here, and that shit gonna be rocking.
hell yeah,
So
that'd be
where can they
cool.
find your gear at, bro? Before we get up out of
Uh,
here, man, tell the people where they can find your gear at.
you can get Weed Taste Good seeds at Seeds Here Now and Daga.love. You can get Weed Taste Good clothing at weedtastegood.com. You can get all my fermented plant extracts at buildasoil.com. All my fertilizers that I make, natural fertilizers at buildasoil.com. That's my distributor. So yeah, fermented plant extracts, weed should taste good, build the soil. I got some classes coming up where I'm teaching how to make and how to do all this kind of stuff. October, was it November 10th, 11th, and 12th in Houston, in your town, bro. So if
Hey,
you can make it, bro,
no,
November 10th, 11th, and 12th, 3-day class and a weekend. It's a cool spot in Houston. And yeah, bro, show up. And
okay.
yeah, anybody who wants to show up, if you can reach out to me and I'll get you a ticket.
All right.
Yeah, we
Like,
also got an event coming
all
up
right.
in October
Stuff.
20th, October 20th and 21st in 2 weeks out here in Western Colorado, in Montrose, Colorado, at Build a Soil at the store.
Yo, shout out Betasol, man.
You're welcome to. Welcome to
Yeah,
show up.
most definitely. All right, man. Well, it's been another episode of Business is Blooming, man. These keep getting better, bro. Shout out to my guy Miles, bro. Salute to you, bro.
Much love. This is awesome. Thank you. Peace,
Awesome,
man.
brother.
Love it.
Blessings.